I'm going to read something to you that I just found on my phone. And every now and then I get an inspirational prompt. And this inspirational prompt is from famous people around the world and historians and wise people who've made a statement and an impression on people's lives. And one of these is by Mother Teresa. And a little bit on Mother Teresa. It says Mother Teresa was a Catholic nun, the Albanian ethnicity and Indian citizenship, who founded the Missionaries of Charity, and list goes on and on and on, just to let you know a little bit about her. And she said something that is, I'll let you figure it out afterwards, and I'm going to give you my spiel. First of all, adjust my lens here. If I got to get things together. She says, I have found the paradox that if you love until it hurts, there can be no more hurt, only more love. Now, I know what you're thinking. For multiple people, it may affect you differently to hear these words. You might agree. From face value, a person will typically agree, from the beginning. I mean, how could you not? I mean, you hear this and you have the famous face. And just the fact that she's a Catholic nun will kind of put a smile on your face. But let's turn the story around and let's say that her face isn't on here. And it's a statement that you say to yourself. You sit down and you go through relationships after relationships, marriage after marriage. And you tell yourself that, I found the paradox that if you love until it hurts, there can be no more hurt, only more love. So basically, love more. I would like to tell her, sit down across the table from her and have my hands folded. And, I would love to say, where do you get this from? And I like the phrase in the first, she said I, which is fine. She found that. Okay. Basically she's saying I found. She didn't say the world found. She didn't say Morpheus, you found. She didn't say all of you who is listening to me are reading this passage that you find. She said I found. And it amazes me as well when I think about it that they put this up here for some sort of inspirational relative to who? To me? Or to Red Pill or to MGTOW, right? It's amazing. But yet this is why I tell you often how people are beyond salvation. This is why this academy is called the Academy of Wow Men. Because this is somebody who's practically talking to herself. But yet, because she's, considered as Mother Teresa and a Catholic nun, they figure, her words are so valid and so strong where they'll put it up here for inspiration for someone else. So because she is going through something, or she has a certain reality, as if that reality is going to be my own, which is laughable. It's laughable. It's only very few people who, when you read something that is based on somebody else's powerful words, that it's about them as well, where you can relate to a person's experience. You can relate to someone else's struggles in their life or however else, but you got to read. You have to read first. Read first. It says, I have found, not we have found, not you have found Morpheus. It's I. So you will wonder who would put this up here and say, well, this is going to help you out in your day. This is going to help you out today. This is going to make you strong, Morpheus. Listen, Morpheus is red pill. I give red pills. There's many red pill men, and I am not balancing, nor am I saying that I'm better or less than them. Okay. We all have our variation of red pill, but in my version of red pill, okay, my red pill is hot. It goes down and it burns everything. Okay, it's almost like you drink a hard glass of whiskey. Okay, and especially in the middle of the winter, you chug it down, it's going to heat you up immediately. That's my red pill. So by her saying something like this, or it's not her saying it, she's saying it for her own benefit. She didn't put that up here. They did. Whoever decided to make this so-called app or something like that to think it's going to help other people, they decided to do that. But these are people who are trying to do what? I'm trying to help people, trying to put inspirational, but it's more stupid than I can ever imagine. And first of all, I don't like to douse women. I really don't. I really don't like talking about them like that. But I told you, as a alpha red pill, I halfway listen to what a woman is saying anyway, let alone take her advice with something like this. I can care less whether she is Jesus Christ in the feminine form. I'm going to look at her and laugh at her in her face and tell her to go scoot somewhere else. Find some other plantation to lie to. Okay? Not try to create a plantation of ignorance over here. Because when you think about it, love and love harder is basically what she's saying. Men have been loving since the beginning of time. And it don't matter how much you love someone. It don't matter how much you give. If they're not giving you any love in return, you are wasting your time. It don't matter how many times, how many flowers you give. It don't matter how many dates you take them to. It don't matter how many kids you give them or how much energy, time, and interest that you give into that person. They will still act like you don't exist 15, 16, 14, 17, 18 years later if they survive that long. If they survive that long. And like I said, every time I start an audio, I will find things to read to you and to open up your eyes, because this will help you eventually. In return, I'm going to use this thing that they thought, oh, it's going to help Morpheus. Some moron somewhere decided to create this so-called passage for her to be some sort of inspiration. Okay, I'm going to turn it around and actually make it positive and let you be aware that these things are all the way around. Even inspirational posters, if you read their words, oftentimes it's a person talking about their experience, not yours. It's somebody saying, me, I did this, and how I feel in this day. Yes, you can relate, but they're feeling a certain way during that. When they speak and they're feeling a certain way, but it's not you. So therefore, only you are responsible for yourself. Only you are responsible for how you relate to a situation. And that also goes to something else I'm going to bridge it to you. And you see the title of this audio. I'm going to start with a experience of mine. I'm very physically active, physical trainer. Every now and then I go out of town and do some skating. Every now and then I do some martial arts and things of that nature. And I went to, I think just recently, I hurt my knee not too long ago from previously skating, but it was actually due to working on a car. I bent the wrong way and I hurt my knee. Because I had to bend down. I was taking the wheels off. I was trying to, I was tuning up the underside of it, shocks and springs, that sort of thing, right? And I hurt my knee to where I realized I twisted it the wrong way. And so I was limping for a while. But I knew that I needed to heal. I needed a little bit of time for my knees to get ready before I get back out there and do some skating. Working out wasn't a thing. Skating is on a totally different level. That's, you're really wearing your knees out there, and I don't know how to hold back. I act a fool. I know who I am. Okay. I am, and I'm not a dog, but comparison to a dog that wants to be free, once the leash is broken, I'm gone. I'm out. Okay. I'm like that when it comes to working out in the gym and skating and being physically active. I'm the one that what do you call that? There's an overachiever. That's the word I'm looking for. Overachieve. I overachieve. But the point of the matter is, I knew that my knee wasn't completely healed. I knew it wasn't healed. But I have a passion for skating. I have a passion to do what I enjoy doing. And so I wasn't going to let my sore knee hold me back. I wasn't going to let it hold me back. I said, I'm going to do the best that I can. See what happens. I get out there and I feel like that I'm not in pain at all. The body just completely adapted to the situation as if there was nothing wrong with my knee, but something still was wrong with my knee. Excuse me, I'm taking my red pill at the same time. And over time, my knees begin to, what do you call that? Inflammation, rubbing together, instead of letting it heal. It just made it didn't make it worse. It just rubbed a little bit to the point where it's like, okay, I had enough. That's enough. I'm fine. But you know what? I really enjoyed myself. I truly enjoyed the time that I was there skating. It was worthwhile. It was worthwhile during the sickness situation. Everybody was scared. Everybody had to walk around with masks and everything. Right? And everybody's scared to go out and just be a part of the world. I said, I'm not going to let that hold me back. I'm not going to let that stop me. I still went out there, and as what some people say, I did my thing. And I felt more, how can I put this? I don't know if you ever felt this way before. I felt more alive than what I ever used to feel. And that same feeling was still there, regardless of my pain, regardless of the situation, regardless of the so-called, sickness. Regardless, I was there living as if nothing ever existed. And I really enjoyed myself. But while I was there, I saw some things. And again, I will tell you now that it is not an assault on women. All right. It is not an assault on you. I don't talk bad about anyone on this, but I'm the teacher here in the Academy of Wildman. I have to share my experience with my students. And while I was there, yes, there was an audio I made talking about how we have fat, lazy parents who will sit down and watch their kids skate. But wait a minute, before I go there, I'm going to tell you about that situation. But let me give you a little bit more of my experiences, not just my knee. There were times where I fell and almost busted my tailbone. Yes, skating. There's other things I've did as far as martial arts and pumping iron, but I'm giving you experiences there since we're talking about that. There was a time where I got hit in the face with a cell phone where it caused me to bleed. I fell down and cracked my cell phone. Got knocked over by a jealous male who didn't like the fact that a lot of women were checking me out, so he tried to prove something. Okay? And it wasn't knocked down to the point where I fell or hurt myself. I just was knocked over. That's all. I was able to catch my balance, get back up. I knew what his game was. Yeah, there's men like that. There's men like that. I've been talked about. I've been called gay because I'm able to dance by, again, jealous men who wanted to tell those girls practically to back away from me because they were interested in me. So they were trying to, what some people say, block me. They were trying to block me. Right? You can fill in the rest of the word. I've been not ostracized. I've been talked about by other girls who were saying, "Oh, look at him trying to show off. He's so look at him trying to." Because with them, when it comes to women, they want all the attention. If they don't get the attention, they will degrade the male and talk bad about them because the women want the attention. I can't tell you how many times where I was out there skating, doing my thing, and the women would talk bad about me because nobody was looking at them. No man was walking up to them and telling them that their rear end was fat. that they were looking good. They were being ignored the whole time. So in order for them to get attention, they had to create what? Chaos, confusion, separation, and they had to talk bad about me. And there were some other men who were skating quite well as well. There were other men in there who were just ignoring her. They were rolling around and actually skating, minding their own business, living their life. And the girls did not like that. They didn't like that their attention was being taken away from them and it wasn't on them. So they had to create a dilemma. They had to create chaos. That's just what women do. So practically, I've dealt with a lot. I've had my hat stolen a couple of times. I was there in the midst of a few bad fights. There were so many things that have happened, but yet I was persistent. Yet I remain diligent. And I want you to keep that in mind as we continue on in this lesson. So while I was skating there, getting back to the present, I seen the fat mothers. Yes, just sitting there, biggest day, none of them was less than 200 pounds, I'm sure. Like 4 or 5 of them, 4 or 5 of them sitting there, and all the kids was out there skating. And the poor little children, all they can do is just, try to keep their balance as much as possible. But I'm looking at them more than I'm looking at the children. And it confirms my audios. It confirms my academy here in Wildman. And when you hear other men, I know you've heard other men talk about how there's a lot of so-called big women, big black women. OK, they're right. They're not lying to you. And you can get mad at you as you want to. This is my experience, and this is what I've seen. OK, and all they could do is just sit there and do what? Nothing. They're just sitting there, all 4 of them, no less than 200 pounds. But yet their kids were out there. But yet here I am with a sore knee. Here I am, not even in there. Yeah, they're heavy set, but I didn't make any excuses. I still hit the floor regardless. And yes, my knees were sore thereafter, but I did whatever that it took. But yet they themselves, not in a wheelchair, they wasn't handicapped. They wasn't walking around on any type of breathalyzer, but yet they couldn't get out their chairs and go be physically active with their kids. But this is not it. You think that this is the rabbit hole here. No, see, Morpheus teaches in a way that will thoroughly lead you directly to reality. That's how I teach. So whenever you think that I'm done, I'm not done. I always remember that. I'm telling on myself right now. When you get in the mind of, oh, is that it, Morpheus? No. Whenever you think that it's over, it's not over. The rabbit hole goes deeper, which is why I'm called Morpheus. If you don't know that by now, I'm sure you will begin to learn. So I get done and I went to go sit down knowing that I'm going to regret it, knowing that I'm going to suffer the days after, tried to heal myself once again, but actually enjoying the fact that I still went out there to do my thing. Still got my talents. I can still get down with the get down. And cardiovascular, because it was mainly for that. I need to stretch out my cardiovascular and get my breathing together to test myself. So I wasn't there to show off. I was there to see my own potential. I challenged me. Did you hear what I just said? So when I sat down, there was this older gentleman who sat next to me, and I seen him before. But this time he said something that made a whole lot more sense. And that's why I decided to share this with you. Yes, he said he was 65 years old. 65 years old. And he said, Mr. C, I'm glad to see that you're here, man. It's been a while since I've been here because of the sickness going around. And they said, yeah, man, I'm out here doing my thing. He said, you know what? Just do what you love to do. do what you love to do, and wisdom will come to you. And he looked at me and he said, you do that, brother. Do what you love to do. He said, a lot of people don't know that I'm 65 years old. And here he is putting on skates. Here he is. Listen, here he is, 65 years old, getting ready to put on some skates and get out there on the skating rink floor. And you got these three walruses that want to sit there and suck up all the water on their table and watch it. Listen, there's no excuse. There was no excuse whatsoever. There's no excuse. No excuse. I mean, here he is, 60. They're not 65 years old. They look to be around 32 to 35 years old. Big as day. They had no excuse. But here, this 65-year-old man came into the skating rink to get out there and skate. No excuses. He didn't sit there and panter around. He didn't sit there and look at everybody else. He didn't sit there and order the biggest cotton candy and, the whole pizza and sit there and swallow it. He said, no, man, I'm here, man. I love skating. This is what I love to do. And I want you to circle that word love. Circle it. Circle love for a moment there. Put that down as your viscera. He said, do what you love to do. Use that as a pillar in this story as I begin to continue in this classroom as your professor to teach you something. In the gym, I met this guy who was about 294 something pounds. And every time I see him in the gym, whenever I'm there, in that town, he's always lackadaisical. He would walk around and talk to people and just have conversations with people as if it's a social hub. And whenever he's on the machine, I hate it when he's on the machine. As a matter of fact, there was a time where I had to confront him and tell him to, if he wasn't going to use it, move the hell out of the way. Because I wanted to get on this bench press machine that you splay your arms out. You put your arms on it, and it's like it's a wing press. It's not I think there's a word for it, not lateral. It's not forward from your chest out. It's from out in. Okay, outwards to in. And he was just sitting there playing with his phone, looking around like Humpty Dumpty. And I'm already furious. I already told you about how I am in the gym. I'm a beast. I'm a monster. Okay, I take the waist, throw it around, and I play with it for a little while. It's my playground in there. And he made me even more angrier. Yes, I get angry when I'm pumping iron. That helps me even more to vent, to get rid of if I have any frustrations and to alleviate my stress. I take it out on the weights. That's why I'm able to throw it around everywhere. And he's sitting there looking stupid, looking like. So I walk over there, right? I said, "Are you going to use this thing?" Like, yeah, man. I'm in a few minutes. I said, I need to use it, so I don't got all day. And I indicated to the watch on my wrist that I didn't have, but it's that's a universal language, a universal sign language that you automatically know what a person mean when they're looking at their wrist. They're talking about time, like hurry up. We need to focus on time. And then after about 2 or 3 minutes, after his laxity, he get on it, right? And he ended up doing at least 3 pushes. I didn't say 3 sets. I said 3 pushes. And it took him forever just to do that. A good 15 additional minutes just to take the butterfly press. I think that's what they call it. Butterfly press. And pull it in. And once he left, I'm just thinking to myself, these people are outrageous. They are just flabbergastedly ridiculous, retarded, and just lazy as hell. And it's becoming a disease for the American people. And it's a disease around the globe. It's worse than the sickness. We got lazy slobs around the entire world, which is worse than any type of sickness that we have dealt with, I think. And the reason why some of those things do overtake people is because of their laziness, but I ain't gonna go there. They don't wash their hands. They don't eat healthy. You know, they take all kind of pills and medications and vaccinations. So they line up to make themselves sick. They make themselves a prime candidate. But yeah, when I got around to talking to one of my other clients, they knew the guy. They knew him. And they talked about how this guy he wasn't really physically active, not even in high school, where he didn't do too much for himself. You know, he was always lackadaisical, and he didn't do so. Basically, he worked himself up to be as big as he is today, to be the 294 pounds, you know, all flubber. He worked for that. He did not do anything to prevent himself from becoming out of shape. So now all of a sudden that there's a gym that's available somewhere, and apparently he don't want to be there as well. He don't want to be there. Now he kind of decides to do something for himself, but he really don't want to do it. But he's doing it what? Half-heartedly. Half-heartedly. Why? Because he don't love himself. Remember what the guy said? The 65-year-old man, do what you love to do. He don't love himself. He don't love himself. No different than those girls sitting down watching their children out there skating. There's no love there. There cannot possibly be any love for yourself if you are able to be, or you enable yourself to be lackadaisical, lazy, and complacent with your own health in your own life. It's one thing to take care of children. I love children. You know how I feel about them. You know, that's a no-brainer there. But it's another thing altogether when you put yourself on the shelf and then all of a sudden you wait for the doctor to tell you that you're sick for you to know that you're sick. You wait for yourself to be an ER on a gurney in order for you to say, well, I need to take better care of myself. You wait until you can't even get through some double doors. You can't even walk in there, let alone breathe, to take 10 steps before you realize you are overweight. Then now all of a sudden that you got to be rolled over like that big lady on Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory, because she sucked in all that chocolate and now her face is blue. You know the reason why they made the face blue? The reason why they put it like that, it wasn't just for the fact that she was eating a blueberry. Okay, it's just that when people decease, sometimes their face look blue. That's right. Y'all thinking, oh, that's okay. I see it. Yeah, you see it now. Okay, that's why. It's not, they were trying to make it lightly for you. Okay, because it's a childlike movie. They were trying to be nice to say, okay, she sucked in a blueberry and that blueberry made her turn blue. And now we gotta roll her out of the room. They were trying to be nice. But in adult life, in real life, when you really look at true death documentaries, okay, that means a person is gone. That means their circulation is over. So their face turned blue. It's over. They're gone. Okay, it's no different than any type of adult person. When you let yourself go downhill, you don't want to take care of yourself. You're not trying to eat healthy. You're not asking questions. You wait for the doctor to tell you that if you eat something else, you're going to blow up. You wait for that. You wait for him to say, you know what? Sorry, you got cancer. You sorry, blah, blah, blah. You know, sorry this, sorry that. You wait for somebody to say, God, are you eating the food or are you actually playing in it? Because the food is all on your face. You know, you wait for somebody to say that in order for you to take alarm to your health. But by that time, guess what's happening? It's just like Willy Wonka. You know, they got to put you on your side and roll you out of there. But they're not going to roll you out like they did her because it's a movie, again, for children. OK, you be rolled out on a gurney or a tow truck, whichever one. And then all of a sudden, what we'll do is love me for me. I just got a problem with myself, or, you know, I can't do it. No, you're just lazy. You're just lazy. It's my thyroid and I just, you know, blah, 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 blah. So everybody has a thyroid problem? Wait a minute. Everyone do? The whole family? Like the whole group, the whole culture or something like that? That all of them do? We all got thyroid problems now? That's the excuse we're going to use. Then all of a sudden, I want to get married again. Who? To a whale? Maybe the day that Johnny Green Giant gets drunk and come down off of his tree, maybe he will. But by that time, he'll dump you just like any Chad and Tyrone and go back up the tree and be like, man, I got post-nut clarity. What was I thinking? So he worked up to the fact that he wanted to be there, not there at the gym. He wanted to be in his unhealthy condition. There's something that I'm going to share with y'all today. I got a name of certain types of individuals. And these individuals, I consider them to have no soul. And you can keep that for yourself if you want to. Maybe one day. Maybe one day I'll patent it. But it's for right now, it's for me. And I call these certain people are called demos. What a demo person is the definition of a demo person is a wandering buffoon with no soul. A wandering buffoon with no soul. What that person is a person who they just go through the motions. These are people who have no direction. These are people who are like, let's say, for example, you close your eyes. Are you blind for yourself? And I give you a bucket of darts. And the way I'm giving you a bucket of darts is through indoctrination, through my programs and my systems. I'll put something on the social media, on TV and stuff like that to make you believe it. I just give you this bucket of dumb stuff, of retarded pills that aren't red pills, blue pills, right? And you say, well, I believe, okay, I'll do it. And you put your hand in the bucket, and you are to control your life. You are to find Nemo, or for some of you, Waldo. You are to find yourself. You are to control. You have to figure out where you're going to be at in life and what you want to do for yourself, or your interpretation of God, or what you want your family to be at in the future, or even yourself. And what the demo would do is go ahead and grab the darts, blue pill darts out of the bucket. And the ideal is to hit bullseye, right? We all know that. You take it and you just throw it to get a bullseye and get that red down the middle or something like that and win something so you can succeed in life. You can figure out where you're going to be at. You know where you are. You know where you come from. You know the history, stuff like that. You'll be surprised how many demos that they are who would just take that and throw it blindfoldedly in multiple directions. And when they open up their eyes, there's darts everywhere. But there's no center of self. There's no control. There is no soul anymore. There's no instincts. There's no direction. It's just whatever somebody gives you, you do it. And a lot of people are used to it because it's comfortable. Yes, I understand. Sometimes it is. Sometimes when you just let the waves take you over, you don't have to think. You don't have to worry. It's like, oh, I'm just going to trust and believe. Let's trust and believe, which makes the church so famous because all you're doing is trust and believing. Yes. That God's going to come and do something for you that you're not doing for yourself. He's going to help you lose weight, even though you haven't even lifted a dumbbell or walked on a treadmill for 2 minutes. You get on there for 2 minutes. Oh, I did good. Start putting on the towel and, oh, I'm going to go home. That's it for the day. That's it. I got my workout in. Right. And all the while you standing there on altar call, you going to the priest or the pastor to pray for you, lay hands on you to help you lose weight. Or you go to the doctor to give you some pill or some liposuction. But yet mankind have made a gym for you. Mankind have made all sorts of gymnasiums, all sorts of machines. If you can't run outside, if it's too cold and too hot, there's air conditioning gyms. OK, you got healthier foods now, foods that are not GMO. They're natural foods. They are organic. OK, you got organic food in all types of form. I even told you once upon a time that even Doritos decided to try to make a couple of bags of organic Doritos, believe it or not, to try to go in a more healthier direction, at least. And we are still walking around above 295 something pounds and making excuses for our lackadaisical laziness. And then what we put on there in the magazine is big is beautiful. Oh, so, wow, I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to say that's what they say. Okay, so they're saying that let's avoid accountability and the excuse is that I just want you to accept what I have to offer. Basically, this is just what I am, and you're just gonna have to accept it for what it is. Excuse the fact that I'm making excuses for myself. Excuse the fact that I'm not trying. Excuse the fact that there are skinny people. There are people who are just naturally born with a decent. I did a discovery, and let me slow down here. I did a research and a discovery as well that even chubby kids, what happened is when they grow up chubby, they're young and their mom is stuffing all type of chicken wings and ham hocks and breasts and McDonald's and fat burgers and junk down their throat and lollipops and icicles. Yeah, I know about all that stuff. They get chubby for a little while and they got their stomach and a little fluffed up face and everything, and give them a certain time only because of nature itself, because their body matures, their metabolism kind of balances out, and they start eating sometimes different type of food, or most times they don't change their diet. It's just that their nature itself and their metabolism helps them to burn off that food, and sometimes they can work it off. Okay. And they end up having the ability to be this thin child at the age of 14 or 15, when they were 7 and 8 or 6 years old, kind of chubby. And it could be that they were chubby still around that age, but around 21, 22, they're thinner. They started losing weight. They started loving themselves and take care of themselves. And then there are those who they stay that way because they continue the habit of, mom wanting to stuff them up like the Pillsbury Doughboy. Or girl, mostly, and I can eat everything. It's all about me. No accountability. I'm just going to stuff it because it tastes good and it's pretty while it's going down in this wonderful silver wrapper. And you go for it. The Three Musketeers ain't going to save you, but you do it anyway because it tastes good. I like my chocolate. Apparently a lot of women love chocolate a little too much. Okay. And they stay that way and they get really, really big over time, and they considered as in high school or college, when they get that far, to be thick. When they're realistically out of shape, they're just called thick by moronic blue pill boys who are only raised to be visual morons. Okay. And so they look at her as if she is great, and she's not. But she holds on to that because now she don't feel like she needs to do anything to lessen herself or to look better. Okay. And then what happens is there's a point in her life when she gets a little older where her metabolism and her body gives way to her lifestyle. What that means is it's tired of fighting back. It's tired of trying to help her lose weight because she's only thick at that time. She's only thick, as what some people say. She's just, I'm naturally born this way. I was always born like, oh, woman, shut up. Just shut your mouth. You ain't talking to a fool. Maybe a 19-year-old, but not a mature red pill adult like myself. But they'll say that, right? I've been naturally thick. So the body's like, you know what? I'm tired. Forget it. I'm tired of trying to speed up the metabolism. I'm tired of trying to help you out. You had an advantage all the way up here to 23, 24. Now I'm going to give you what you really are. Then therefore the weight started escalating. It starts escalating to a higher level. Now she's a little bit bigger because now the metabolism is slowing down. The body's getting tired and she's getting older. Okay. And then now she's starting to convince the world that she's just naturally that way, or him naturally that way. Okay. This is just the way that I am. Accept me for who I am. I'm beautiful. Here I am. And then, of course, unfortunately, you got blue pill betas who are like, oh, I like that. Oh, that's round. Oh, thick. Wonderful. But what they don't know is the body will play a surprise trick on them, as most men know it, called the wall. And definitely it comes earlier for some women because they don't take care of themselves. They're not doing what they can do. They're too busy trying to put, the funny thing is they try to put on things that are prettier, but they don't make their body pretty. It amazes me how they'll do the makeup. They go get their hair did, go get their fingers painted and put face paint on. They go get the name brand expensive clothing that's going to tether in a matter of months, but they put it on anyway, right? Sometimes weeks. They'll show off, broadcasting on Instagram and Facebook. Look at me. Look at me. Don't I look beautiful because I'm wearing beautiful stuff to put on and hide the fact that underneath I am not that? Right? And so there are some blue pill guys who find that to be attractive. And over time, because they may have been her friend for a little while, or he probably knows the girl, or maybe there was some sort of communication between him and her. Maybe he was the donkey dunk artist with her. He decides to do what? Well, I'm not getting any older. I'll go ahead and marry her. I'm not getting any older. Their famous excuse. We're not getting any older. We might as well settle down. We're not getting any older. And guess what they do? They marry her, and and then now the body's like, okay, you don't have to try no more. The rig's up, forget it, let it go. And next thing you know, here she is. She's looking like his mother now. Sorry. She's just big, just looking like, wow. And he's the small guy. And he's like, oh, look at my wife. Isn't she so pretty? Big. And then he has nerve enough to complain because he don't know red pill, because he didn't get the information. And over the years, he didn't study, because even on his behalf, he didn't take the time to listen to other red pill men discussing nature and women. And definitely not to my channel. There's a lot of red pill men who talks about the anatomy of the female as far as her mentality is concerned. You can say her mental anatomy and how she's playing games on him. Okay, but as far as my channel is concerned, I talk about everything. Spirituality, health, church, all just great stuff. Education. In here, the children are that future guy would have the ability to be prepared to know that there's more than just the physicality or the spirituality of that person. It has a lot to do with everything else. So if he'd gotten the information as he was supposed to, then he would not have decided to marry her, because he would have knew the consequences. But because they don't get the information, and because around our environment, we are raised up and bred with blue pill conditioning. What is it that he say? I do. Happy wife, happy life. Sometimes I ain't even gonna go there. I'm not gonna do it. Let me stop myself. Pump the brakes, Morpheus. Okay, but check this out. At the end, there's always something that people do, and that is they give themselves an excuse. And the excuses are either there's a health condition, either they don't have enough time, they're working too long, or they'll say this: my daddy never told me. My mother never told me this. Now, I just don't understand. I just don't understand why people are coming down on me. Nobody told me. I figured it out at the last minute. When the mirror cracked, or when the weight scale broke the floor. When? It was a couple of months back, not that long ago. And my little girl that I teach every now and then, not plenty of little girls, plenty of little boys. I call them mine anyway. Told you. I take care of my children. But while I was with the girl, she looked up at me with her big eyes. Because I guess she heard my discussion several times with her father and her mom and other people. But she asked a very curious question, but it amazes me at the same time. You'll be amazed at things that children say, that they pick up on things that we don't pick up on. You'll be surprised that sometimes children can figure out logic, and it takes us all day to figure it out. And they already answered the question. They have they'll go directly to the core of it. And we're idiots. We're sitting here needing to figure it out. We need counseling. We need a doctor to tell us. We got to sit down in the church and let some pimp tell us what it is all about, right? But children, they just simply know what it is because it's by nature. It's just directly in front of them. They don't have a complicated mind. As we grow, when we mature, when we grow up, because a lot of us don't mature, we just grow up. Those who just grow up, they make life to be more complicated because they're the blue pill demo. They're the demo who just reach in a bucket, Just because everybody's doing it, everybody says it, everybody should be doing it because everybody's doing it, they'll grab it and throw and be lifeless. Okay, so they make life complicated when it's very simple. So therefore, there's plenty of people with their hand in the money pot, or there's plenty of people with their opinions, and you can go by your opinion, everybody else's opinion, but opinion don't amount to anything when there's no facts to back it up, or if you have not experienced the same thing. Maybe your experience may be someone else's experience. That happens sometimes, not all the time, as I talked about with Mother Teresa. Okay. But she asked the question, and you'll be surprised how much it matters to a child. It matters to them. She said, Morpheus, why do you like kids so much? She said, why do you like kids so much? I said, I love kids because they're unique. There's always something to learn from them. They are the future, and they generally have a kind heart, and they are willing to learn on a usual basis. And most times it's not their fault when they do something. It's because of how they are raised by mindless parents. And they're adorable, especially babies. I mean, to tell her about babies, not how babies are born, but I told her how cute babies are with their big ham hock cheeks, okay, and their big eyes, okay. And when I told her, what I said at first about children, that they're interesting and there's so much to learn, I can tell when she's thinking because she always looks forward, and she put her finger on her face as if she's rummaging through the information that I just given her. Okay. And so therefore, get this straight here. Okay. Therefore, where is the excuse for children to feel like they're not appreciated? Where's the excuse where children are uncomfortable with their parents because their parents are yelling at them, or their parents are always fighting in front of the kids? Where's the excuse? Where is the excuse when this child isn't even of my own blood and loins, but yet she understands that I care about her and them and the students, where she is concerned that I am concerned about them? So how much more is it for the various children that we have around the countries to be in situations where they feel as if they are overlooked, where they're not appreciated, where they're not loved, where their parents hate them, or their parents are mad at them? There should never be a time where your child will be like, oh, my mom and dad is mad at me. But why would they be mad at you? Anger should have nothing to do with it. If you are teaching your children, they should never say anger. Are they mad? It would be more like disappointed, not angry. But they get this impression because that means we're not doing what we're supposed to do. We're just being and listen, I comprehend when you're with the child 24 hours, 7 days a week for a whole year, you want to jump off of a bridge. You think more. Yes, yeah, I care about children, and to me, they're adorable and wonderful. But I understand the other side of the river. Okay, I understand just how bad it is. Sometimes you want to take a fork in your own eye because it's hard. It's difficult. It can be laborious. It can be time exhausting. You want time to yourself. It's always noisy. Sometimes you rather go all by yourself. You rather do all by yourself, but you got this responsibility here that will put hooks in you and will pull you down. Oftentimes when you are with them all the time, they're no longer cute. The niceness have faded, and all the fascinating things they may say is no longer fascinating. Now it's, shut up, sit down. Somebody else come along and make your child smile. You'll be like, yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, cool. But, it's like, yeah, whatever. You don't know Sarah like I know her. You don't know little Jim like I know him. He's a hellion. You don't know him. He's like, yeah, you think he's cute from the outside. You play basketball or football with him from the outside. You wrestle with him from the outside. You joking with him right now. But, you know, if you knew what I knew, you'd spent time with him 24 hours all day, every day, you know, for the 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you know, you would run. As a matter of fact, you just walk past and probably would not even say, how you doing, little man? You'd be like, no. You run the other way. I know it's not that easy. So I'm not saying that it's a cakewalk. I'm not saying that, you know, parents are going to immediately be perfect and you're not going to be emotional and there's not going to be no times where you won't take the pillow and stuff yourself. Okay, I know that. But before we get into it, or while we get into it, if we are studying and we're focusing on what we're supposed to study, our focus, we should know that we have no choice but to deal with that responsibility that's before us whenever it comes to us. But we use what? Too many excuses. You know, the excuse here again is I just don't have time, and, you know, I just didn't feel like it, and this is just not the day, and maybe some other time, or the kid want to go outside and play. Oh, not today. We're going to go here. We're going to go there. You know, why is your children not getting the education that they need? Because I'm just too busy. I don't have time to be, you know, helping them with their homework like I get all the time. You know, Morpheus, you're going to teach them because I just don't have time. You know, then they just give me the keys and go. They want to get out of there, get the hell out of there as fast as they can. You know, I just can't do it. Just excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. I don't want to stay home and be a stay-home mom. It's just boring here. It's just, you know, it's just like nothing to do. The kids are at school and I'm just twirling my thumbs. You know, so I'd rather go and do my 9-to-5 job and forget about the kids, you know, come home barely, give them like Saturday and Sunday, and they have like, you know, maybe an hour during the week, but that's it. There is no 24-hour contact with my children. You know, it's less of a stress, but yet they're still going to be neglected. My excuse is because I just don't feel like doing it. And then those children grow up and they do the same thing. And you wonder why. Here's the big thing. Get mad all you want to. You wonder why the infrastructure now around the country, even more so, is not even angled at a 2-parent home. It's not even angled at you being able to have a one person going out there to work and the mom can stay home or something like that, because we're so used to being so unnatural and living such a lifestyle where the children are neglected, where it's normal now, where we're all okay with that, where we're just like, okay, it's fine, because there's too many people doing just that. Too many people are like, well, I'm not going to stay home. I'm just going to go and work. I'm going to go and work. Forget about the kids. No, it's nothing about the kids. And if she's doing that for a short amount of time, eventually she'll switch it up. Be like, yeah, I've did this for 5 years. I want to get back to the workforce. Get back to the workforce and, you know, let the schools raise my kids. And then while the schools are raising my kids, I'm going to let the police officers be the fathers and the mothers of my kids should they get out of line and they need discipline. That's y'all thinking. And then you see all the catastrophe on the news and you know, on the television display, but it's not enough reality for you until it's your own child. And then now you want to flip on your head and get mad, protest, get mad, and, you know, have all type of banners and want to sue. But you wasn't the one at home. You neglected them. So how are you going to get mad at the state? How are you going to get mad at what do you call that? Corrections. When you was the correction at home. You're the judge at home. You're the police at home. You're the God at home. But you decided to neglect all that. You said, I don't care. The money comes first, not my child. I rather want money. I don't want my kid. Otherwise, years ago, if you don't know, some of you don't, you know, because y'all was raised yesterday, there was a time where men did have enough money where he was able to supply and provide a means for home. He did have the assets. He had the accessibility. He had the jobs. He had opportunities. He had money. Okay. So therefore, she was okay to stay at home. And he was like, okay, since you're taking care of the family, you're taking care of my children, I'll take care of you. You're going to be just fine. I'll go out there and I'll chop wood and I'll bring the wood home to you. Okay. But now, since we have an even playing field, now that we're all the same, you know, now that both of y'all pushing the jackhammer, what is your child pushing? Where are you going to send your child at? Where are they going to go? Oh, they're going to go to my grandparents' house. Yep. So they can sop them up and make them soft and weak for the future. Oh, I'm going to see them to the daycare. Yep. So you can get them indoctrinated and be around other mindless children who's also neglected by their parents. Yep. Of course. I get you. I got it. I got it. The thing I care about most than anything else in this Academy of Wowmen, that's children. That's my number one priority. That's my number one protocol right there. Everything I teach, everything I talk about, when you get yourself and your mind together, is going to provide a means for them one way or the other. When you are at your best self, they're going to be at their best self because they're going to be the future, and I don't want them to suffer. I want them to say that somebody somewhere fought for me. And the means is made for me because someone made it happen. But in order for us to do that, we got to change our thinking for them. But you know what? Here we go. What do we use? Excuses. So here we are at the end of the audio. And I'm going to give you the Shangri-La and the kicker. At this particular point in our life, we really don't have an excuse. We don't. We talk about how we are great, how we was a wonderful people once upon a time where there was always quality in the countries and that we always had our mindset on morality. Then where is it? Where is it? I mean, where is it? I mean, if that's the point, then this is an amazing breakthrough of human evolution in time. It's an amazing breakthrough. You know, it's working out quite well. And what I like the most as well, which makes a lot of sense, is this red pill thing that I'm all about as well. Because you got to remember the basics of creating another human being or creating a human. It takes a positive and a negative. It takes an energy integer that molds and modifies itself with each other to adjust to make a probable means. If y'all don't understand that, too bad. But what I mean is, to break it down in simple language for you, is when man and woman comes together. And man and woman isn't coming together properly. Women have a different agenda than what men are looking forward to. Their agenda is not to to collaborate with him. It's not to peer bond with him. It's not to make a future for the next generation. So where these young kids are going is going to be separate ways, not together. And the more we misunderstand on purpose what real love is, the more we misunderstand how lackadaisical and lazy that we are, because we like to wait until we see the negative results in order for us to do something about it, we're just going to damage our children. They're just going to have a black future and it's going to be done for. And the only thing we can think about is our moment. We look at the moment in time. You know, when we go in our medicine cabinet and we grab some medicine, it's only for that moment. You know, when you go to your dealer and you go get a blunt, you know, or something, whatever you do, it's just for the moment. You're going to want some more, but it's just the moment, just right there. You know, go get some alcohol, you know, go do something that you know you shouldn't be doing. You know, it's just the moment. It's never about what's going to happen 10 years from now with this little person that I have with me. It's never that. Because how could we have ever thought that way? And we're dealing with the issues that we are between man and woman. How can we say that when we have a very high divorce rate, when nobody can stick together anymore, where music is allowed to be played that is teaching and discussing that everything else about union is irrelevant but donkey dunking? And it's all blaring on the radio. You know, it amazes me how that is on the mainstream radio. That people buy it at the store. It's in CD and we blare it on 18-inch speakers down the street. But we never hear anybody blaring any social sense, any teaching, any lecturing going down the street, unless you are inside of not even an elevator. You know, when you got to be, you know, somewhere in the office or somewhere, maybe somebody's personal phone or their personal radio playing, you know, in their office setting, or maybe in a special room or something like that, or nothing on the loudspeaker talking about red pill content. You know, nothing about people who are talking about good sense. Now, you may have some people talking on your so-called TV, on the mainstream about nonsense, about, dumb stuff that's not going to move the country forward, ignorant, shallow water conversations because they're scared to offend people. Okay, they're scared to get low ratings because they're telling the truth. So they can't tell the truth all the time. They can only skim the top. Whenever you skim the top, you're still lying. Did you hear what I said? Just because you're telling the truth, that's shallow water. You barely touching the surface. That don't mean that you're not lying. You're still lying when you don't tell the whole truth. You're still lying when you hold back. When you're not saying what need to be said, you're still lying. So you're still lying to the people regardless. That's how I teach in this academy. My students are 100% solid. Either you tell it like it is or don't talk at all. Shut your mouth. And they can't tell it like it is. Otherwise, they'll lose ratings and they'll shut the TV channel down. Okay? But you never hear positive, realistic empowerment speeches unless it has something to do with some indoctrination or some famous preacher up there talking nonsense. But let there be somebody like me up there talking. Let it be red pill content speaking the truth. Let it be MGTOW. Let it be men who have been disenfranchised. Talk the truth on the main stage, on main media. Let it be real people who have really suffered out here on soil face to face. Get up there and tell it like it really is. Okay, that's when you can get something happening. That's when reality starts striking home. That's when you get some real thinkers and real people who's going to be facing what they need to do instead of facing it at the last minute where they make excuses for their failures. Because we're at a point where there should be no room for failures. There should be no room for failures, but we accept it because we end up raising failures in our likeness. Because we know that in failing, there's going to be a success somewhere, and it's not going to be mentally, it's going to be financially for those who's just going to take control over you and be the